After the escape failed, I stopped pretending. Stopped pretending I was going home. Stopped pretending the island was just some strange place. Stopped pretending I was still me. Because something had changed. Not just in my mind, but in the clinic itself. It started with the walls. They creaked louder than usual, all the time, day and night. Not like old wood settling. No, these creaks had a pattern, a rhythm, like breathing. Sometimes it sounded like footsteps inside the walls, sometimes a heartbeat. Low, wet, slow. At first, I thought it was my imagination, stress, paranoia. But then I pressed my ear to the wall in the exam room, and I heard something whisper my name. Not shout, not moan, whisper. From deep inside the wall, like it was buried there, waiting. Then came the stains. Brown, red blotches started appearing near the ceiling. I cleaned them, bleached them, painted over them. They came back the next day. Thicker, darker. They dripped if I listened long enough. I followed one trail of drip lines to the back hallway. There, the wallpaper had started peeling. I tugged a corner loose. Beneath it wasn't drywall or brick. It was flesh, pale and veiny. I touched it. Warm. It pulsed. I jumped back and vomited in the sink. I started checking every wall, peeling back corners, scraping with a knife. Everywhere I looked, beneath the surface, it was the same. Living tissue, soft, beating, alive. The clinic wasn't just haunted. It wasn't cursed. It was alive, and it was feeding. Patients started coming in more frequently, not just at night, in the daytime now. Their eyes were glassy, their hands cold, but they smiled more. Too much. Big, stretched grins, like they'd been taught how. Like a puppet learning to mimic a human face. One man came in with a broken leg. Said he fell from a ladder. The bone was already healed wrong, but I swear I had just seen him limp in a day before. Another woman said she needed help with a cough. When she opened her mouth, her tongue had teeth. Tiny ones, lined like fish hooks. She smiled and said, "They're growing in nicely." Some patients didn't speak at all. They just sat on the table, stared at the wall, listened. And after they left, the clinic groaned, like it had been fed. One day, a young man came in. He looked normal, sweaty, nervous, breathing fast. He grabbed my arm and whispered, "It's in the walls." I nodded, tried to ask what he meant, but he screamed. One long, painful scream, then collapsed. I reached to help him. His skin was burning hot, his eyes rolled back, and then his chest opened. Not like a wound, like a door. 4 sharp, bony ridges pushed out from inside his ribs. And then what? He vanished. Just gone. Nothing left? I stopped taking patients after that, locked the clinic doors, pushed furniture against them, let the villagers knock, or whisper, or scrape their fingers along the wood. I didn't care. I stayed inside, in silence. But even that wasn't safe. One night, I heard someone in the vents. Not mice. Footsteps. shuffling, dragging, like hands pulling a body through the metal. I climbed onto a chair and opened one of the grates, shined a light inside, and I saw eyes staring back. Not glowing, just watching, unblinking. Too many of them. I shut the vent, bolted it closed, did the same to every other one in the clinic. But I still heard movement, still heard whispering, some of it in my voice. And then came the worst part. The clinic started talking back. At first it was just one word, whispered from behind walls. Stay. Over and over. Then other words came. You belong. We remember you. Feed us. I tried to fight it. Tried to write everything down to remind myself I was still me, that this place didn't own me. But every time I wrote in my notebook, the ink faded, disappeared. Like the walls were watching, reading, censoring. Eventually, even my name started to feel wrong. When I said Dr. Rhodes out loud, the lights flickered, the radio buzzed. My reflection blinked on its own. So I stopped saying it. Stopped calling myself anything. Just survived. That's all I could do. Eat, breathe, sleep when I could. Avoid the mirror, avoid the whispers. Try not to look at the stains that wept down the hallway. Try not to listen to the moaning that came from under the floor. Try not to feel the walls pulse when I walked by. And the worst of all, I think the clinic started to like me. It got warmer when I spoke. The light stopped flickering when I sat quietly at the desk. The bloodstains thinned out. I started finding notes left out for me. Thank you for your service. You're doing good work. We need you. They were written in different handwriting. Some of it looked familiar. Like mine. One night, I opened the fridge for food and found a new notebook inside. Leather cover, clean pages. On the first page, Dr. Rhodes, logbook, year 1. I didn't write that. Didn't bring that book. But the clinic had. It was preparing me, welcoming me, keeping me. And maybe the worst part of all, a tiny, tiny part of me was starting to feel like I belonged. Because when everything outside is madness, the monster you know starts to feel like home. This place isn't just cursed. It's alive. And it's hungry.
I thought I had broken all the rules. Windows at dusk? Forgot once. Never treat the same patient twice? Broke that early. Mirror after midnight? I didn't look, but he did. I answered the door to a knock with no voice. I even tried to leave. Every single rule shattered. And yet somehow, I was still here. Still breathing, still walking the halls of this clinic that groaned like an old animal, still being fed by the walls, still watched by the mirror. I didn't understand why I hadn't been taken, not fully, not yet, until I found the final rule. It happened the night of my 99th shift. I was cleaning the old medicine cabinet in the supply room, not because I cared anymore, just because I needed something to do, to keep my hands busy, to stop thinking about the whispering vents or the eye that blinked in the sink. I pulled the cabinet away from the wall, hoping to find one last bottle of something strong. Instead, I found a message, carved into the wall behind the cabinet. Deep gouges, as if someone used a scalpel or a bone shard. Don't stay past the 99th night. I stared at it, ran my fingers along the letters. still fresh, like the last person who wrote it had just left, or never got the chance to. I stepped back and flipped through my notebook, counted the tally marks I'd been scratching into the corners of each page, 1 mark for each night. 99. Exactly. Tonight was my 99th night. The final rule. The one no one talked about. The one no one dared write down in the open. Because this one wasn't about surviving the night. It was about what happened after. The clinic knew. It had been preparing me, lulling me, soothing me, like a spider petting a fly before the last bite. It wanted me comfortable. It wanted me ready. That night, everything felt different. Quieter. Still. Too still. Like the clinic was holding its breath, waiting. At 9 p.m., the lights flickered once, then stayed on. I sat at the desk with every bulb burning. Radio on. Doors locked. No knocking, no patience. Just me and the ticking clock on the wall. At 11:59 p.m., the air changed. Thicker, heavier, like breathing through fog. And then the mirror uncovered itself. I didn't touch it, didn't go near it, but I heard the fabric slide off. Soft, deliberate. When I turned to look, it was standing clean and clear. No cracks, no blood, just a perfect reflection of the room. Except there were 2 of me. Me at the desk and me in the mirror. But this version of me, he was smiling, softly, sadly, like he pitied me. I stood up slowly. My reflection did the same. Then it held up its hand. 4 fingers, then 3, then 2, then 1. Midnight. The radio hissed to life. No voice, just that sickening sound of wet static, like something was crawling through the wires. Then came the knock. Not loud, not soft, just final. 3 knocks. Front door. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Another knock. Still no voice. Then footsteps. Inside the clinic. But I hadn't unlocked the door. It didn't matter anymore. The rules were done. The clock had run out. I backed away, slowly. The lights dimmed one by one, following me down the hallway. Click, 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 until only the bedroom light was left, and the mirror. The reflection stepped closer. Now he was alone in the glass, smiling, wide, too wide, like he'd finally won. That's when I heard it, the whisper from behind me, not through the walls, not in my head, right behind my ear. It's time. I turned around, no one there, but the mirror, it was different. Now it showed the front of the clinic, the porch, fog rolling in, and someone walking up the steps. A new person, young, backpack slung over his shoulder, looking nervous, hopeful. He stepped inside. The reflection followed him through the front room, through the hallway, right to the door outside my room. Then, a knock. This time from the inside of the mirror, not the outside. I backed into the corner of the room, hands shaking, heart thudding. I grabbed the mirror, dragged it to the far wall, faced it down, covered it with the towel, taped the corners, tried not to cry, tried not to scream. But I knew I'd broken every rule, all but one. And now I didn't have a choice. The clinic had given me time. It had been patient. But this rule wasn't like the others. This one had no loopholes, no forgiveness. You do not stay past the 99th night. Because if you do, you stay forever. No more tally marks, no more name. Just a face in the mirror, smiling, waiting, calling the next one in. I sat down at the desk, picked up the pen, and wrote one last note. If you find this, run. Before the nights start counting, before the mirror smiles back. Then I turned off the light, sat in the dark, and listened.
I don't remember falling asleep. I don't remember closing my eyes, but when I woke up, the mirror was gone. So was the towel that covered it. So was the radio. The desk was different, newer, shinier. The calendar on the wall now read September 16, but the year? It was blank. Just faded numbers where the year should have been. Like time had given up trying to track this place. I stood up slowly. No pain, no hunger, no soreness in my legs from the night before. My notebook was missing. No bloodstains on the walls, no whispers in the vents. The clinic was still. Too still. Then I heard voices outside, footsteps on gravel, a motor shutting off. I went to the window and peeked through the blinds. A boat. Fresh supplies being carried in. A tall man in a dark coat stepped out. He had a suitcase, a backpack, a nervous look on his face. He stared up at the clinic like I had once, like it was too quiet, too clean, too ready. And then I knew. The new doctor had arrived. I opened the front door to greet him. The sunlight hit my face, but I didn't squint. Didn't feel warm. Just there. Present, but numb. He walked up, smiling weakly. "Hi, I'm Dr. Rhodes, Samuel Rhodes," he said, holding out a hand. My breath caught. I knew that name. It was mine. I looked into his face. Same eyes, same smile, same voice, but younger. Like I used to be, like I was once. He looked confused. "Are you the previous doctor?" I opened my mouth to speak, to warn him, to tell him to run. But I didn't. I said, "Welcome. Let me show you around." And I did. I gave him the tour, told him where the meds were, which light switch sticks, how the radio crackles but sometimes works. He nodded, listened, took notes, asked questions, and then he found it. The note on the wall. The rules. He laughed, just like I did. "Are they serious about this stuff?" he asked. I smiled, just like they wanted me to. "Probably just a joke from the last guy," I said. And something inside me broke. But not loud, not painful, just quiet, like a final string being cut. That night, I sat on the porch, alone, staring at the sea. The new doctor slept upstairs. Same room, same bed, same silence wrapping around him. The clinic creaked. Not like an old building, more like a yawn, like it had eaten and was settling in. I closed my eyes and remembered. The totems on the shore, the girl with two mouths, the whispers in the walls, the mirror that moved when I didn't, the eyes in the vent, the knock that never spoke, the face that wasn't mine, but looked just like me. I remembered trying to leave. I remembered failing. And I remembered the rule. Don't stay past the 99th night. But I had. And now I was still here. I don't know if I reel anymore. I don't eat. I don't sleep. I don't bleed. But I talk. I walk. I guide. I write the new doctor's name on the charts before he does. I answer the door before it knocks. Sometimes when he's not looking, I catch my reflection smiling at me. It's proud, pleased, like I finally become what I was meant to be. I want to scream, to cry, to beg someone to help me. But there's no one left to ask, just the next version of me, and the next, and the next. The villagers smile at me now, nod when I pass. One of them handed me a basket of fruit last week, said, "It's good to have you back, doctor." I said thank you, even though I didn't mean it. Even though it wasn't me they were talking to. Not really. Not anymore. I found a photo in the clinic drawer yesterday. Black and white, 5 people, 1 doctor, 4 staff. They were smiling. I looked at the doctor's face. It was me, or maybe the me before me, or the one before that. The file said, Dr. Samuel Rhodes, arrival date, unknown. I put the photo back, locked the drawer, stared at the mirror in the hallway. It didn't show my reflection. It showed him, the new doctor, sleeping, breathing, safe, for now. But I know what's coming, and so does the clinic. It's always hungry, always waiting, always counting the nights. So if you ever get sent to an island like this, if the boat drops you off and there's a clinic on a hill, if the windows are too clean, the air too still, the silence too deep, turn around. Go home. Swim if you have to. Because once the first night passes, the rules begin. And the nights start counting. If you find a note on the wall with 4 simple rules, burn it. If you hear someone knocking and they won't speak, run. If someone smiles too wide or speaks in your voice, don't answer. And whatever you do, don't stay past the 99th night. Because after that, you won't leave, you won't scream, you won't even remember who you were. You'll just be the next smile in the mirror, the next whisper in the wall, the next kind voice that welcomes someone new. And someday, someone else will sit right here, telling this story, thinking they're the last one, just like I did. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening to my story. Stay safe out there, and whatever you do, follow the rules.